ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणं मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Today we have come to the last 3 verses of this chapter 5, and it is in these 3 verses that Sri Krishna explicitly or directly lays a foundation for the next chapter, the teachings of Dhyana Yoga. We will see that Sri Shankaracharya himself says for the next chapter for Dhyana Yoga. The 6th chapter is sometimes called Atma Sanyama Yoga also. However, the word Dhyana Yoga gets more support from Sri Shankaracharya himself mentioning it in his commentary. We saw in the 26th verse how Sri Krishna praised in glowing terms anyone who has cleansed one's bosom of Kama Krodha. The last verse we saw was Kama Krodha Vyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasa. When we are worldly, rather than cleansing our heart of Kama Krodha, we are so worldly, we delight in having Kama and Krodha. There are many people who are so happy that they have desires, because for them to have a number of desires, to buy a new car, to buy a new house, to go traveling, to eat this, to visit the latest newly opened restaurant, etc., is a sign of life. They feel very lively about themselves. In the same way about Krodha also, anger. When they are angry several times in a day, they feel that they are living an energetic life. Alas, what a upside down view of life. They do not see the ultimate goal of life. Or more precisely, they do not see the price they pay for living in desire. They do not understand what a bondage it is to have endless desires. Kama Krodha Vyuktanam, therefore, is said by Sri Krishna. It's not that spirituality is simply against desire or anger. On the contrary, spirituality recognizes, respects, and gives a place for all the human emotions. In Ramayana, you find Lord Sri Rama expressing anger at several times. And desire and anger are, of course, a sign or the sign of a vibrant life. But life is much more than that particular plane, that particular phase. There is an advanced phase. Newton's laws are not the ultimate in physics. Newton's laws become incorrect, become invalid in advanced physics. Like that, when you and I desire lasting peace, unconditional love, and a cessation of sorrow, then Kama and Krodha are not the answer. Yatinam. So there is a phase in life where we nurture our talents, we prepare to achieve more. Then there is a phase, a later phase, where we control our emotions, where we sublimate our emotions and become yati, yatachetasa. It's no more a matter of acquiring skills. We have learned skills, we have acquired languages, we have traveled, we have enjoyed life, suffered also. Now we want to go to the root cause of sorrow. That is our chetas, our mind. Control the mind. So those who have controlled the mind were praised in verse 26, saying, Brahma Nirvanam, liberation, Brahma Nishta is with them in whatever direction they see. So here we are, after that 26th verse, we enter the next verse in which, before we enter sloka, the words of Sri Krishna, there are a couple of lines very insightful, very important by Bhashyakara Sri Shankara Acharya. Samyak darshana nishtanam sannyasinam sadyo mukti ukta. Summarizing all these 5 chapters, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, Ukta, it was said in no uncertain terms that those people who are filled with intense renunciation, sannyasinam, and thanks to their systematic study of the Vedanta, thanks to their living those values mentioned in the scriptures, they became samyak darshana nishtha. They got so anchored in right seeing. All the evil in life is due to erroneous seeing. In right seeing, they become free. You mean they become free after the death, after this body falls? Shankaracharya says, no, sadhyo mukti. Sadhyaha means instant. When they get that clarity and they abide by it, Atmanishta, instantly they are free. They don't have to wait for the fall of the body. Sadhyo Mukti Hidas is no different from Jivan Mukti. But these are 1 in a million. And rest of those people living out that 1 in a million have to work on Karma Yoga. How does Karma Yoga operate? Karma Yogascha Ishwararpita Sarva Bhavena Ishware Brahmani Adaya Kriyamanaha. Karma Yoga is something that is done in the spirit of offering everything to God. As a verse in this very chapter said before, instead of using Ishvara, the word used in the 10th verse of this 5th chapter was Brahmani Adhaya Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Karotyaha Lipyatena Sapapena Padmapatram Iva Ammasa. And there, by context, Brahmani means Ishvare. Bhashyakara helps us. Ishvare, Brahmani, Adhaya, Kriyamanaha. What does it do to us if we do everything in daily life as an offering to God? Sattva Shuddhi, our mind becomes purer and purer. Things that used to hurt us do not hurt anymore. Unpleasant memories lose or loosen and lose their hold upon us. And that purified mind makes possible jnana prapti. What was mere words, what was mere concepts becomes our own vision. And that jnana prapti automatically leads to our leaving 100 pursuits with which we were very attached before. Sarva karma sannyasa kramena. Then moksha, that's when liberation takes place. And did Bhagavan say this once or twice in the last 5 chapters? Bhashyakara says, Bhagavan pade pade abravi. Again and again he said this. If you did not hear it, go for checking your ears today. Go for all kinds of checkup. Pade pade Bhagavan abravi. And Vaksha teacher, he will tell also. All right. What is it you are saying? Having given ample guidance on Karma Yoga and Brahmanishta, the so-called Dvividha Nishta, right? Karma Yogena Yoginam, Sankhyanam Jnana Yogena was said. Atha Idanim, now paving the way for the last 3 verses, Bhashyakara says, Dhyana Yogam Vakshyami. Sri Krishna resolves in his mind, I will now teach this Arjuna the science of meditation. Dhyana Yogam Vakshyami. What is Dhyana Yoga? Samyak Darshanasya Antarangam. Antaranga. Don't split it as Anta and Ranga. I myself, some 30 or 40 years ago, though I had studied Sanskrit in high school level, when I joined Sandipani Sadhanalaya in 1984, it was many years after I had left Sanskrit in the high school. When the word Chaturanga came, I used to divide it as Chatu. Chatu must be Chatura. Chatura means clever. And what is Chaturanga? Clever what? Clever Chaturanga. I could not understand. In Sanskrit, many times, the right splitting makes matters easy. One day, suddenly it occurred to me, Chaturanga should not be divided as Chatura. If there is no Chatura, if you divide Chaturanga with Chatura, then you are not a Chatura. You are not clever enough. Chatur means 4. Chatur Varnyam or Chatur Bhuja. Chatur means 4. Chatur and Anga. Chaturanga Bala. In an army, there are soldiers or leaders who go on chariots. Chariot is one Anga. Then there are those who go on horses, Ashwarudas, that is second Anga. Then those who go on elephants in good old days, that is the third Anga. And the fourth is Padati, those who go on foot. So if you have an army, and there are enough soldiers riding elephants, riding horses, going on a chariot and on foot, then you have a Chaturanga Bala. Chaturanga. In the same way, here you have the word Antaranga. You may be a great devotee of Ranganatha, but please don't bring that Ranga here. Antar, inside, Anga, part, the inner part. You see, spiritual practices also are like a number of concentric circles, doing our duty in a spirit of service, doing our duty in a spirit of service, offering it to the Lord. In this way, you go inward, further inward, yet inward, inner circles. And then you do Shravana, you do Manana, you get certain insight into your true nature, then lest it should slip off, you must meditate on what you have grasped. Stabilize. Just as when they are building something, they put cement, concrete, etc., and then they leave it for a few days, watering it periodically. Watering it several times a day, and then that concrete, that cement gets so strong. Likewise, don't equate the analogy together or 100% here. Analogy is just to give a certain sense. The theme proper has its own profundity. The theme proper should not be literally equated. Don't ask me, okay, what are the stones in this? Because concrete means some stones and some cement and some sand, and then if it is reinforced concrete, there are those iron rods. Don't ask which is iron rod here, which is cement here, which is sand here. It may be possible to connect something in the illustration to components of what is illustrated. But don't go so much into the details. The idea is just as cement, concrete, etc. gets certain needs certain time by which they become very strong to last for decades, if not centuries. Here too, you have done so much of satsanga, but after the Vedanta class, you rush to the nearest restaurant or you grab at your own home something delicious and munch and forget, let us say, what you appreciated in the lecture. What a pity. The scriptures say, having heard, having appreciated, take some time to dwell on the teachings, internalize it, stabilize yourself in that. In that sense, antaranga sadhanam. So the opposite of it would be relatively bahiranga sadhanam. Bahir plus anga. Antar plus anga. I had a problem in the good old days, even with the word chaturanana, all because of holding on to chatura unnecessarily. There is that famous bhajan, Vata Bigad. So there is a Ganesha bhajan. So in that or in one of the bhajans, there is the word Oh Chaturanana, Chaturanana. I thought Chatura, clever, Anana, face. So who is this who has a clever face? There also the division is Chatur is 4, Anana is face. So Chaturanana is not Ganesha in that. Ganesha is praised as one worshipped by Chaturanana, the four-faced Brahma. So Antar Anga, Bahir Anga, Chatur Anana. Chatur means 4. That is Chatur Anana, Chatur Bhuja. So here Antaranga, Bahiranga. Vistarena Vakshyami Tatra Sutrasthaniyam. Wow. Shankara gives such compliments to the next three verses. Agami shlokaha sutrasthaniyaha. They are like formulas. And then the sixth chapter is like the elaboration. Sutra and vritti. These are a pair of words. If you say pi r squared, that is sutra. If you say the area of a circle is pi multiplied by the square of radius, pi multiplied by the square of radius, that is a vritti. And for some utter beginners in mathematics, you may have to clarify what is square, what is radius, etc., etc. Anyway, sutra and vritti are a pair of words. The three verses now are the sutra. The entire sixth chapter is the vritti. So let's read now the first two of the three verses remaining in this fifth chapter, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Bhagavan says, Sparshan Krutva Bahirbahyan Chakshuschayvantare Bhruvoho Pranapanau Samau Krutva Nasabhyantaracharinav Yatendriyamano Buddhihi Munirmokshaparayanah Vigatechha Bhaya Krodha Yasada Mukta Eva Saha. In essence, these two verses are once more praise of somebody among us who has advanced so much. In modern times, so many people study Vedanta. Thanks to the internet revolution, Vedanta now is available for online study, with online payment, with online certification. I don't know whether they even send liberation also online. Moksha given online. Take it. So, not all those who go to engineering college become excellent engineers. Some may, some will, of course. Not all who join even prestigious management institutions like IIM, etc., become excellent corporate leaders or private entrepreneurs. Not all who study in very reputed medical colleges. This morning over coffee, I asked Dr. Nagaraj in Suvarnamukhi Samskriti Dhama, where from I am making this presentation. He studied 60 years ago in the very reputed Mysore Medical College. But it's only a small percentage like him who then go to advanced levels of study of medicine and practice at highly reputed hospitals and clinics and institutions internationally. In the same college, there will be a certain percentage who, though they got the MBBS from that reputed medical college, would go to some villages. Villages are not a problem, but then they settle for some very ordinary life, a little practice of medicine, but then getting involved maybe in the local politics and earning relatively better generally. Why am I saying this about engineering and management and all professions implied? Chartered accountancy or law, or in any field. Just because you got a degree or you went to a very reputed institution for some years, you don't necessarily rise to heights. Why did I say this? In spirituality also. For heaven's sake, do not say, I have been studying Vedanta for 35 years. And this lady here, that man there have joined just 5 years ago. 35 years and 5 years. And you may pride over studying under some reputed teacher, some Swamiji, some Mahamandaleshwar, somebody head of some big mission, etc. nothing counts. It is only a very small number of people who do what Sri Krishna advises them to do, and they are very rare. So, what makes them stand apart? What makes them a cut above all? What makes them stay one notch above all? First of all, sparshan kritva bahirbahya. Sparshan means various sense inputs. You see something, the form, the color enters, instantly throw them out. Instantly, bahi kritva. They were outside. See, you are going towards the temple. In Solan, Himachal Pradesh, once in a while, in a month or once in 2 months, I would go to the local temple, Sholini temple. And on the way, just a little before the Sholini temple, there would be a magazine and newspaper stand, old style, by the roadside. And of course, I would just on the way back, I would pick up a magazine or some Indian Express, sometimes of India, the Tribune or something. But suppose you go to the temple, you pray to Devi Sholini, then come back, then your eyes fall upon a magazine where Argentina winning over France is. You had not planned to study football, and your plan was to study Brahma Sutra upon going back home. But you pick up that magazine, and what is that? Some Lionel Messi and his life story, and that's everything. You read 42 or 56 pages of that magazine, the week or India Today or something, and that day no Gita Dhyana. Then what happened? Suppose, what happened if you do that? You saw a picture of Messi, the legendary football player, I guess thanks to whom Argentina won the World Cup a week ago. That was Vishaya. You saw it outside. You allowed it to go inside. You allowed it to hijack. Then whole day you did not do anything else except going through the magazine. Like in the West, you have the Time magazine and many other. Right? This is called Bahyan Sparshan Antakritva. You take them inside. They hijack you. Whereas if you and I grow spiritually, it's all right to know a few things, to have general knowledge to an extent, but we do not allow any name or form, any sound, any touch, any the five sense objects. You don't allow them to enter you and hijack you. Sparshan, Bahyan Sparshan, Bahikritva. Even if you buy that magazine, come home, put a minute limit, 20 minutes, I will glance through this. That's it. That's the budget for today. 20 minutes, you just update yourself. So these newspapers, these magazines help us be aware of things. Since we are not Himalayan sadhus, since we are those who go and meet people, give lectures, it's good to be aware of certain highlights. 20 minutes, put that magazine down. Then Sri Krishna would be happy. Bahyan sparshan bahikritva. Bahyan sparshan antaha nutrutva. Chakshushaivaantare bhruvoho. Time and again. See, this is so rightly said by Sri Shankaracharya. This is the preparing the ground for detailed discourse on meditation. Put the eyes in concentration on the midpoint of the eyebrows. Bhru in Sanskrit is what we call bro in English. There are maybe a couple of hundred such words. Mata is mother, Brata is brother, Pita is father, Svasa is sister. There's a resemblance. Bro and brew are so similar. Pranapanam samau kritva, certain breathing exercises. Nasabhyantaracharina, this in-breath and out-breath, after all, go through the nose. Yatendriya muni manobuddhihi. Generally, in our worldly life, we are all the time concerned with finance control, controlling our staff, controlling people around, controlling or managing investors, managing. We burn midnight oil. Sometimes we sit up to 1:30 a.m. with our laptop, etc., looking at the inflow, outflow, income, expenditure of some institution or even ashram that we may be running. Shiva Shiva. Sri Krishna says, how much time do you spend to manage your indriyas, your manaha, your buddhi? Those who invest equally, if not more, in inner management. You watch the television, some entertainment. Okay, spirituality doesn't say you should not. All right. But after 45 minutes of watching television, can you please turn it off? Go to a quiet corner in your house and 5 minutes do some anuloma viloma pranayama, and in the process calm the mind also. Generally nobody does. Your life gets wasted in entertainment, earning money, etc. So vigata ichha bhaya krodha, free from desire, fear and anger. Munihi, contemplative one, mokshaparayanaha, so bent upon liberation, he is or she is ever free. The means and end merge here. The moment you have all these qualifications, don't ask when will liberation take place. When you have all these qualifications, that is the means, that itself is the end. Without your knowing, you are free. Mukta evasa. Adi Shankara gives an inspiring commentary. Sparshan Shabdadin. Sparsha means Shabda, etc. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasagandha. Bahihi Bahyan Shrotradiddvarena Antaha Buddhau Praveshitaha. They have entered. On my way back from the temple, I see the magazine with a football player and I have interest in 200 topics. Sports, cinema, politics, geography, history, everything interests me. Some of them are like that. But we must not allow such interests to throw us off balance. Buddha Praveshitaha. My intellect sees that roadside magazine stand. Oh, I wanted to know more about this FIFA that happened in Qatar last week. I want to know what is special about Messi and then some Ronaldo also, some greats, football greats. Buddha Praveshita, it entered my head. And then Shankaracharya comes along and says, hold on, Tan Achintayata. Don't think more about them. Don't even pick up that magazine. Just to walk back or take a vehicle, go back home and attend to your duty. It's not your duty to know about football and basketball and just to be aware at the most of some major events that happened. The whole world was excited in a manner of saying, Qatar, Gulf country, hosted World Cup tournament, right? But Tan Achintayata, Chintayata, thinking about them, Achintayata. If you don't think about them, though they had entered for a while, they will go out. As Sri Shankara writes, Bahireva Kritaha Bhavanti. Tan evam Bahikritva Chakshushaiva Antare Bhruvoho. Once more you have to take Kritva. You must Chakshuhu Kritva. Bhuvoho Antare. Chakshuhu means Chakshushi. Both the eyes should be focused at the midpoint of the brows. Prana Pano, in breath and out breath here. Somewhere else, Prana and Apana both can have a wider meaning. But in such context, it is the in breath and out breath. They go through the nostrils, they go into the nostril, they come in Samo Krutva, balancing them or subjecting them to certain orderly breathing. That is pranayama. Yatendriya mano buddhihi. All of us know the word meanings, but how many of us actually control our mind, actually control our senses? We go overboard. We take one sweet and then because it's so tasty, we take a second one and if possible, third one also. So that doesn't go well with spirituality. Munihi, manana, moksha parayana, evam deha sansana. Though he is in the body, his eyes are on liberation from the limitations of the body. Vigatecha bhayakrodaha, all that very simple in terms of meaning, but so difficult to practice. So difficult to. Yaha evam vartate sada sannyasi. Shankara adds the word sannyasi. Adi Shankara was uncompromising. Once I went long back, when was that? 86 or 87 to Ramakrishna Mission in Bangalore. There was a Swamiji called Swami Purushottamananda, Ramakrishna Mission, not Chinmaya Missions, Purushottamananda. He became very well known later. He wrote some wonderful books in Kannada. Towards the end, he actually was in Belgaum. He nurtured and developed the Ramakrishna Mission Center in Belgaum, the border district of Karnataka, bordering Maharashtra. He was brilliant. He was known for many talents, wonderful singing. Today in Bangalore, a lot of people tearfully remember him. I had the opportunity to meet him and I asked him, is it necessary to take sannyasa? He looked at me, smiled. I was not a sannyasi. He just kept quiet. Then I said, Swamiji, books, Geetā and other books say people like Janaka, King Janaka, without taking sannyasa, they achieve highest goal. And with a certain taunt, Purushottamanandi said to me, King Janaka definitely achieved the highest. But a lot of people in this world, thinking they will also become Janakas, just became Janakas. And he laughed. I understood. Janaka also means father. They just became fathers of their children. Nothing more. They did not become that Raja Janaka who was spiritually highly evolved. They became just Janaka. Both of us were Kannadigas. He said, in a witty way, ಹೌದು ಜನಕರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಜನಕರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ they have become fathers, we see. So he was quite deep in his understanding Vedanta. Great. After all, Ramakrishna Mission has produced so many gems of monks among them. All right. Adi Shankara thus says, because there are a few examples, don't take examples of like people like King Janaka, don't take sannyasa as something where you can neglect or ignore or take it lightly. Of course, ultimately it's your swadharma, the way God wants you to live. So if somebody till the last breath remains without taking sannyas, no problem. Everyone has to be true to oneself. Because spirituality doesn't encourage us to blindly imitate A, B or C. Somebody took orange clothes, we also go take orange clothes. Then that person removed orange clothes, you also remove orange clothes. Then she wore blue clothes, you say you also wear blue clothes. What are you doing? Madness. Do not wear some clothes or some other by imitation, by being influenced. These color of clothes and other things are secondary. Adi Shankar also, when he says here, sannyasi, I'm sure does not mean or did not mean the external signs like orange clothes. What he meant was renunciation, spirit of renunciation, inwardly. There is no choice. Whether you remain in white clothes or take orange clothes, there is no choice when it comes to developing Viveka and Vairagya. You develop Viveka and Vairagya, and whether you change the color of clothes is a secondary issue. Shankaracharya adds the word. Sri Krishna said, Munihi Mukta Eva. Bhashyakara adds, Sannyasi Mukta Eva. Natasya Mokshaha Anyah Kartavya. There is nothing to be done separately. Evam Samahita Chittena, if someone has thus gained equanimity of mind, Samahita, generally our mind goes. When you, in fact, walk on the spiritual journey, there is a time when your mind is going in all directions. Even in 5 minutes, you will think about 20 topics. Then there is a phase when, even for an hour, you remain focused on one thing. But in between, there is another interesting phase. I'm sure many of you have already experienced it and are experiencing. The phase in between is your mind is wandering, but you are aware. Every 5 or 6 minutes, you will say, hey, why am I thinking of that? Hey, the mind is going there, mind is going here. You become aware. That's a very good sign. At least you are aware of the mind being going to so many topics, right? So if you are aware of how your mind goes to so many topics, then that's a clear sign that very soon many of them vanish. This morning I was reflecting on it. Our mind is like our mobile memory. If you are aware that there are too many unnecessary videos downloaded and are sitting in the memory, junk, and memory gets full, then once you are aware that look, these videos are useless. These videos I don't need at all. So you click, you delete a lot of unnecessary videos occupying the semiconductor memory of your smartphone. Then the phone works better. There is no jam. There is no. Otherwise, other day I wanted to download a very simple. We in Karnataka are fond of a newspaper called Deccan Herald. So there is a simple app for Deccan Herald. More than Indian Express or Times of India, Deccan Herald is very popular in Bangalore. I thought, well, though I am living in Mumbai and travel different places, maybe it's a good idea to see the headlines of Deccan Herald. I wanted to install it. Your phone has not enough memory to install this app. It said, it said there is no enough memory. Oh, I immediately looked at what are those videos which I have put a star and saved. Well, a lot of videos that come are useful. Somebody has chanted some Veda mantra and it's very good. So we say, I may need this at some time. I may play it in some class. So we keep it. That day, like Parashurama going with an axe in hand, I deleted some 200 videos in my iPhone. Then I was able to install this or that app. So likewise, Samahita Chitta means you become aware of 100 topics about which you spend a lot of time unknowingly before. You become aware and then you delete them. You no more think about them. Anyway, I will say more about the greatness of awareness at some other time. Now we come to the last shloka, which is a very sweet shloka. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam natva mam shanti mrichati. They are all into spirituality above anything else for peace. How do we attain peace? Shanti mrichati. One attains peace by knowing God, to be involved in everything, in yajna, in tapas, by saying two, many more are meant. He is the Maheshwara, the great Lord of the entire creation. And why did I call this shloka a sweet one? Sarva bhutanam suhrid. Suhridam sarva bhutanam natva. Know God. If you are a Shiva Bhakta, know that Shiva is engaged and involved in all that you do. You are able to do whatever you are doing thanks to Shiva's grace. Shiva is the one who makes you do. Shiva is the one who enjoys through you. Shiva is your great friend and companion. Sarva Bhutanam Suhrit. If you understand Shiva, your Ishta Devata, in this way, you will have peace. Know God, and then you will know peace. K-N-O-W, know God. K-N-O-W, know peace. Otherwise, as you know, N-O God, no peace, no Shanti. Acharya Shankara says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam, yajnanam tapasancha, kartrarupena bhoktrarupena cha. Bhashyakara writes, Devata rupena cha. Devata is the one who receives. He is the doer, he is the one who receives. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Sarvesham Lokana, Mahantam Ishwaram. Ishvara, the word means God, Lord, Prabhu, Master. Maheshwara is the Supreme Lord. Suhradam Sarva Bhutanam, friend of all, Sarva Praninam. And Acharya Shankara adds one expression which takes the meaning to even a greater height. Pratyupakara nirapekshataya. Pratyupakara means I help somebody. What help can that person give me? In return, if you don't care for what the other person will give us, but help somebody in need, then you are a pratyupakara nirapeksha upakari. Sarvabhutanam hridaye shayam. Hridaye shayam. Like Yudhishthira, grammatically, when the first word is put in vibhakti, the seventh case, hridaye. Normally in compounds, the first word loses its vibhakti. Right? Rajaputra, you don't say Rajnaha Putra, Raja. Anyway, without going to grammar, hridaye shayam. It has its own name, that kind of compound. Hridaye shayam sarvakarma phaladhyaksham. Sarva pratyaya sakshinam. Each of these words is worthy of meditation. God is not limited to the temple. God is not limited to any particular imagination. He is ever present as the witness of all my thoughts. Mam Narayanam Dhatva. I talked of Shiva, but Adi Shankara is very conscious of the context. This particular work, Bhagavad Geetā, is a gift to humanity by Bhagavan Vishnu. Therefore, Mam he interprets as Narayanam. Mam Narayanam Natva Shanti. Sarva Sansara Uparatim. All our sansara meaning this loss and gain, birth and death, million things that happen to us which cause ups and downs in life. All that cannot affect us anymore if we hold God with love, with understanding. In this way, this very beautiful chapter 5 comes to a close. In the next class on 28th in India, 27th in the West, we will see a review of the entire fifth chapter. And in the new year 2023, we will begin a very wonderful chapter, precious in sadhana, dhyana yoga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.